equipment here, and then he'll be off stage to meet and answer any questions. Guys, once again, let's hear Eric Connor.
Oh my God. Thank you for that awesome introduction. That was amazing. So, as some of you may know, I'm on the channel Epic Paranormal TV on YouTube, and we are live right now on YouTube. What's up, fam? All right, so I'm going to set these guys down so they can be a part of it with us as well. So, today I'm supposed to talk about equipment, and I love building equipment to talk with the spirits. I feel like I was guided on this path, like being a musician. I think it led me to this. But I have a new theory that I want to talk to you all about too. But first, just a little bit about myself. I've been investigating for about 6 years now. I've been investigating with Sean for over a year. We've been traveling constantly, and it's been an enjoyable experience. Because what I'm looking for when I investigate is a spirit that can talk back and forth with us, and that's hard to find. A lot of spirits have become incoherent. A lot of spirits can give like one-word answers every few minutes or so, but it's really hard to find a spirit or entity that can talk back and forth continuously. And that's what's required to build these devices effectively and efficiently. And so whenever I build a gateway device, I always try to make it with the spirits in mind. Because imagine being a spirit, and they say, like you ask, what's your name? And they answer, they tell you their name, but we don't hear it. It comes through as something else, as static, or as some other word. You know how frustrating that would be. So I'm trying to make it easier for the spirits, but I'm also trying to make it easier for the investigator. Because when you're in the moment, let's say the spirit did get your name crystal clear through your equipment, and you just didn't hear it. You just didn't realize until review. That can derail your whole investigation. That's why there's an instant replay feature built into all gateway devices. It'll replay the loudest responses over and over again. And that gives the investigator a chance to hear it and to follow up on that line of questioning, on that conversation. But the main thing with the gateway device, it has an instant replay feature, but the other feature of all gateway devices is the full reverse functionality. What this means is the signal chain from whatever tuner or box you're using, the signal chain is reversed entirely before it hits the speaker. What this does is it eliminates radio bleed-through from the spirit boxes and the ghost boxes. So if we hear anything clear and forward and audible through this, then we know it's some type of spirit message or spirit response. If there's no spirit present, it will just be gibberish and noise. There won't be any words. But if there is a spirit present, you'll hear them talking. Now, with the gateway devices, there's multiple different kinds. But those are the two solid features on each one. It's the reverse function and the instant replay function. If it doesn't have either of those, it's not a gateway device. And then you'll also see Sean's gateway. We had like an EM pump built into it. There's an ion box inside of it. And the ion box in his is dangerous. It's too powerful. It messes with electronics. So we actually have it unplugged right now. There's also an infinity mirror inside each of these. So there's a mirror on the inside wall of both walls of the gateway. And there's a mirror, there's two mirrors on this one, on the one on the battery pack and one on the box. And it's these little things that help spirits come through better. As you can see, we got crystals on there. And I take all the gateway devices to numerous locations to test them, and to make sure they're functioning properly, and to make sure there's no issues. So, one thing we encountered in Malachus, the documentary, the darker spirits, the demonic spirits, they can take over any piece of equipment. And they can do with it what they want. And they made that known, they made that very clear here in this documentary and in my past investigations. So, I don't know if you all have ever heard of a place called Revenant Acres. It was in Indiana, and I was told it's been torn down, which is a good thing. That place was evil. But there was a spirit there of a demonic nature, or it claims a demonic nature, and it possessed people. And it figured out a way to turn off the gateway devices without using the power switch, the volume knob, or the battery drain. So somehow it figured out how to turn off every gateway device I brought into there. They were able to turn it off. And what's weird is so when that happens, you turn the switch to the off position and then back on, and it just pops right back on. It's unbelievable. So it's really interesting when you have a gateway device, something like this. The spirits can interact with it in ways that you didn't imagine, that you didn't foresee. And if you ever talk to a lot of priests, they will tell you that if you use any object to communicate with the spirit, you're creating a portal. And they advise against that in every way. But anytime you do something like that, anything can come through. If there's something dark there, it can come through in weird ways. I was at Poasttown Elementary once, which is featured in this photo here. And I was doing a gateway experiment where I was testing a microphone through multiple reverse pedals. And I'd been using the gateway at my house, I'd used it at another location, and I'd used the gateway earlier in the night at Poasttown. But before we did the experiment, I went to turn it on, and it caught fire. The gateway caught on fire. It's never happened before, it's never happened since, and everything was functioning normally until that moment. And so, like I said, you never know what's going to happen with a gateway device, but they're the staple of what we use to investigate. Like we do EVP, we do a method called the Clover method, which I'll talk about here shortly. We do the SB7, we love the SB7, and Gary Gallman's new device, we call it the Annihilator, and now we've got the Annihilator Pro that we've been testing out. We love those devices, absolutely love those devices, but the one consistent thing you'll see in our investigations is these gateway devices. It spoils you. When you hear it, it's so clear compared to the scanning radios, it's so clear. But the replay, that's what you get hooked on. It's listening for that replay. And we'll do, if you all want, we'll do a gateway session up here at the end of the time. It'll last like 15 minutes, 20 minutes or so. We'll do a session and see if something comes through. But now that I've talked about the gateway a little bit, I'm going to spin off in a different direction. And I'll take questions too at the end if anyone has any questions about it. But I think about this a lot. I'm obsessed with it. And there is, let me just go into it by saying, if I'm sitting here and there's a spirit sitting here next to me, or standing next to me. We are a certain distance apart, but for whatever reason, there is something in between us, something more than air, that makes it where we can't hear them, or see them, or feel them a lot of the time. Other times, we can hear, see, and feel them, no problem. It's like, oh my goodness, goosebumps, hair standing up, there's something beside them. And I've thought a lot about what that is. So how do you overcome that? Why do these frequency scanners work? Why does this connect with spirits? And even before spirit boxes were invented, even in like horror movies and old school documentaries, you'll see radios turn on and the spirit will talk through the static. And those are frequency devices. If you were to ask me what 98 megahertz sounds like, we wouldn't know if we didn't have these. We can translate that frequency into audio. But my point is, I was thinking a lot about why does that work? I mean, we all exist on the frequency spectrum. Everything does. Colors, light, physical objects, everything. And so spirits, in that same vein, spirits must also exist somewhere on that frequency spectrum. Now, why would it be different one day when there's a spirit next to me versus the other? Why will one day they come through super clear, one day they won't? Why will a scanning radio pick them up? So I thought about it and I came up with this. In between us, we call it the veil. And we're not exactly sure what the veil is made of. We think it has something to do with maybe the moon phase, maybe the way the earth is positioned, maybe the sun. But I was thinking about it like this. There's electromagnetic energy coming off of our planet, the moon, the sun. The moon controls the tides, all through electromagnetic forces. While we're spinning through the galaxy, while the seasons are changing, I think what happens is the frequency of the veil is shifting. It's shifting in real time, constantly. As the Earth spins, as the moon rotates around us, and as we go through the universe, as our Milky Way galaxy spirals through the universe, the frequency of the veil is changing. And what's really weird is we use changing frequency devices, scanning frequency devices to make contact with spirits. And I don't think that was just a coincidence. I think there's something there. I think there's a relation to the changing frequency of the veil and the changing frequency of the tuners. And I think what happens, whenever we're making contact with the spirit and it's active all night, I think those frequencies are compressed. They're compressed. We call it, we say the veil is thinner. But I think what's happening is the Earth, the Moon, and the Sun, they're either closer or further apart, or something in the galaxy is causing the frequencies to compress. So think about it this way. I wish I had a board up here to show you. We're spiraling through the universe, and a spiral in 3 dimensions looks like this. It goes like that. But if you were to put a spiral on a 2D plane, on a flat plane, it would look like the amplitude of a frequency. And I think that frequency is the veil, the entire frequency of what we can't see between Earth, the Moon, the Sun, the universe. And whenever we're moving, that frequency is changing. It's getting longer and shorter. And on nights when it's just popping, when it's super active, I think the frequency is compressed, really small. And the spirit, even though they're standing right next to me, it's just so easy for them to talk. And then some nights when it's not active at all, that frequency is super long. And so they might say something, it gets through to us, and then nothing comes through for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. That's why you hear investigators talk about waves. There's waves of activity. Like a huge wave will come crashing in, you'll get a response, you'll hear a disembodied voice, something will fall over, and then nothing for like an hour or two. In those moments, I believe the frequency is expanding. We would call it the veil would be thick, if you will. And I believe the frequency is everything. The electromagnetic frequency is almost entirely what the veil is made up of, I believe. And I believe it was put in place for a reason. Like there's a good chance that we're not supposed to talk with spirits, talk with ghosts, talk with demons, as far as the original creation goes. Now, if God didn't want it to happen, God wouldn't let it happen. There's a reason that we know about it and that it gets through. There's also a reason that there's a huge barrier, that there's a huge veil between us. But I don't have a name for that theory yet. One of the viewers suggested calling it the space-time frequency theory. I can't remember who that was, but someone suggested that. It's got a little ring to it, the space-time frequency theory. Not bad. But we'll come up with something catchier. We'll come up with something really good for it. But yeah, I've been thinking about it a lot. Why would a standing radio pick up someone's disembodied soul? How would that happen? So, for instance, could any of you say hello through this tuner? There's no way. There's no way you could do it. I mean, you could make an FM radio station and try to nail the frequency, but it stands. It's moving through. So I think the moving frequencies relate to the veil, which the spirits are on the other side. And I think that's why they work. And that's why I think using frequency devices are so important. That's why I built the gateways to eliminate the radio bleed through, so that way it's not a question of if it's spirit or not. There's another experiment that can be done, because I don't know how many of you would believe this, but I think the spirits can talk over the radio frequencies, or just those frequencies, without it scanning or anything like that. And I want to do an experiment to prove that there's no radio bleed through that's causing the responses. And it's something I've been building up for a long time. Anyways, I'm getting off track here. We talked about the theory, we talked about the gateways. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about equipment-wise, and then we can do like questions in the session, is we have a new method called the clover method. And this is pretty interesting. So there was one of our most loyal, dedicated, and loving Epic family members, Amy Clover. She passed away a little under a year ago. And she was always at all the streams, and even after she got sick, she couldn't watch in real time anymore, but she would still go back, and she would watch every single stream, and she would comment as much as she could. Her and my mom, they had a friendship, and they started talking a lot, and it really hurt us to lose her. And after she passed away, I was doing a live session, and the spirits kept saying, "Play it back." And they were saying it through the gateway device, over and over. Play it back, play it back. And eventually, I was like, "Do you want me to record this and then play it back?" And that day, I just happened to have a new recorder that my dad, we call him Pop's Metal, but Pops, he was at the store, he saw a new Sony recorder, and he bought it on a whim. I own like a ridiculous amount of recorders, like all new, I'm like hoarding them. I got so many, this experiment involved. But he bought this random one, and I turned it on, I messed with the settings, and I decided to use it to record the gateway, and then to play it back for the spirits. And what ended up happening was extremely shocking. So you would think the recorder would pick up the gateway device and it would pick me up talking. But that's not what happens. What happens is it picks me up, you can hear my questions, but you don't hear what the gateway said in real time. It's something else entirely. So like a male voice comes through and says, like let's say for instance, a male voice comes through the gateway and says, "How you doing?" And You're like, whoa, that's crazy. But then you play it back on the Clover recorder, and you hear a female voice say something like, "Help me, I'm stuck." It's like, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense at all why it does that. But we have found it to be consistent and concise and really, really effective at gathering spirit communication. We call it the Clover method after Amy. We named it after Amy Clover because we discovered it shortly after her passing. And I think she had something to do with it. I think it was her coming through, saying, play it back, over and over again, trying to get me to figure this out. And we used it on Malachus. And the results we got with it there were shocking. We didn't pick up only the demon, we picked up something else too, using the Clover method. The Clover method is my most recent, I guess, technique or invention. I don't know what you want to call it. I also use an SLS camera. It's not the digital dowsing one, and it's not the Connect 360. It's the Connect V2, and it is a beast. So it actually, if you ever see it, it's the big rectangular black one, and it's heavy, it's really heavy, and it uses a time of flight sensor. These are far more accurate than the SLS camera. The time of flight sensor is what like the military uses to track targets and map things, and when they're using three-dimensional tracking. You can three-dimensionally look up and down, left and right throughout a room. It's really accurate, and it eliminates the majority of the false positives. So the SLS cameras, they have so many false positives. It's hard to watch being technically minded when people use them. Because if you point an SLS camera at a chair, it'll map in the chair. And it's not a spirit, and it's hard to tell people. It's like, look, it's the chair. And if you have something on the table, like if you have a gateway device on the table and you point an SLS camera at it, it will map in a thing right there every time. You point it at a refrigerator, there's a good chance it's going to map it in. What you're looking for with the SLS on any of them is a map in open space or across multiple depths and not on any one object. So an example would be if you pointed it towards the stage, and it mapped something in, and it wasn't just on the chair, it's not on me, and it's not just on the board back there, it's like all over the place. That would be an example of an anomalous map. And the newer generation cameras, like this Connect V2, it weeds out so many false positives that a lot of times you don't even see them. You just have to keep going, you have to keep doing them. And the one I use, it also does infrared, so it's really nice. You got an infrared night vision camera, plus it maps in the figures. It's really dope. But anyways, how am I doing on time? Because I want to get to questions, and I want to do a gateway session live right here. Let's get these gateways going. All right, let me check the time real quick. What do we got? That's not the time. Where's the time? 3:37. All right, we got plenty of time. So before we start the gateway session, does anyone have any questions about the equipment or about our investigation or anything like that? Hey, in the back. So Paul's asking if it's going to be manufactured and if there's a patent. I've got a poor man's patent on it, and I'm going to sign up for the patent pending process. But what I'm going to patent isn't the physical equipment, but the process itself. You understand? You get what I'm saying there? Yeah. So the poor man's patent is where you just write it out and mail it to yourself, so that way you have proof of it. But patent pending is not hard to get, but like actual patent is expensive. It's very expensive, and to do it right, you want to use like a patent lawyer, a patent attorney, you know what they're called. But I would absolutely love to do something like that. Have it like, could you imagine if it said patent pending on those? That'd be dope. But I do want to make a handheld version. So this is pretty small. This is like, my old gateways were gigantic. They would take up like half the table. They were big. But when you're on location and when you're running and gunning, you need something you can hold. And so I've got this one pretty small. I had a smaller one, but through all my years of doing this, I found out the guitar amplifiers, for whatever reason, seem to amplify the spirit voices better than Bluetooth speakers or regular speakers. So I have a JBL Go 2. It's a really nice speaker. I still use it for EVP playback. I would recommend, if you're gonna buy a speaker to listen to your EVPs, go with the JBL Go 2. It has really clear high end, so you can really make out what they're saying. But anyways, I built a gateway with one of those, so it was just the brain and the speaker and the tuner. But I didn't get nearly as many responses. It's something about the amplification circuits inside of guitar amps. They're built to amplify the frequency of guitar tone, which is very, very similar to the frequency of the human voice. So it's unintentionally designed to amplify the human voice just based on the frequency range. And I think there's something special about that. I think that's why you see so many of these devices are built with guitar amps. But thank you for the question. That was Paul, by the way. Thank you, Paul. Appreciate it. Any other questions? What's up? Can you make one at home? Absolutely. So the components themselves are very simple. It's a Zoom multi-pedal. These things, once you figure out how to navigate the menus and program it, there's a learning curve, but it gets pretty easy. And then just a basic guitar amp, and then you got I have a power pack on this one, but you don't have to have it. And then what's really important is these weird tuners. These are X-Max tuners, well that's just one of the brands that's like reselling it from China. But these X-Max tuners, they're noiseless. So you don't have to have a noise gate when you use this tuner. That's why you don't see a noise gate on this one. Now with Sean's, the one I built over here, this one does have a noise gate, allowing you to use spirit boxes, ghost boxes, hack shacks, anything you want to run through it, you can. And then he also has a compressor pedal on the side, which opens up more bandwidth on the brain, so you can do more with the brain portion of the gateway. But yeah, you can absolutely build them at home. It takes a lot of trial and error. There's a lot of components, there's a lot of ways you hook it up that don't really make sense. And so, oh my goodness, my dragon. What happened to my dragon? You alright, bud? Look at that. Alright, I'll have to fix that at some point. But yeah, thank you for the question. Any other questions? Thank you all. Yes.
It's already been done this before. What do you recommend it? What do you recommend strap like where? How?
Into ghost hunting or into the devices?
What you do?
Either one. Okay. So he's asking, for someone who hasn't done this before, how do you recommend getting involved with ghost hunting or with the equipment? And I tell everyone this, when you're wanting to get involved in ghost hunting, try and find a public event at a really awesome location. Like Waverly Hills, Ohio State Reformatory, something like that. And try and go there with an investigator. You know, someone like me leading a group of people through the building and investigating. That's the best way to get started because you can get acclimated to the environment, you can understand the engagement of the spirits and how they interact, and you can also see what kind of equipment you like, see how it reacts, and see how you react to the situation. Because some people end up being way more sensitive than they thought. People who are pure skeptics, they can go into a super high location and they're like, oh shit, I feel it. They'll freak out. You can freak out. So it's really good to be with a seasoned investigator and just starting off, you know. Get a couple of investigations under your belt, get some equipment. And then as far as the equipment goes, it's just a building process. I always recommend starting with EVP, just get a nice recorder, and then move on to a spirit box. That's what I did. I had an EVP recorder and a spirit box. Then I ran the spirit box through my guitar pedals. My pedals had a reverse pedal on it, a rare echo pedal that had a full reverse function. That was the Line 6 Echo machine. I don't know if we got any musicians in here, but it's a really old, rare pedal that weighs like 1,000,000 pounds, but it was awesome. It was really awesome. But I just had all that stuff on my board, and I was just trying to use my hand, and so I ran it through the board, and I was like, oh shit, this works. But yeah, so that's what I recommend when you started. That's what I did when I got started. I just tried to go to any public ghost hunt, any event. And that's how you meet people too. That's how you meet a lot of good investigators, a lot of good friends, a lot of people to investigate with. Any other questions? It's good. How common is it for spirits to drain batteries on your devices? Well, it's more common than people think. So when I first started, I thought it was like for show or people just were using crappy batteries. You know, it's like what? But it does happen. You'll go, and usually it'll happen. Like if it's a really active spot, like Sean and me have gone in before with recorders, spirit boxes, gateways, and all of a sudden everything will drain. The battery will be like flashing low battery, can't record. Spirit box is dead. His light will shut off with a big battery pack on it. And in certain locations, they'll just turn the equipment on. No switch, nothing. They'll just shut it down. But have extra batteries. So the one thing one thing you want to start off is a flashlight. That's like, before an EVP recorder, before a spirit box, get a flashlight. You'll definitely, and then second, if you have equipment, extra batteries. Lots and lots of AAA batteries specifically. But yeah, thank you for the question. Paul? Yeah. So that's a really great question. I love that. So he's asking, when they're talking through the equipment and when we have the veil at its frequency, he's asking, is the veil shifting so fast or is it shifting slower? And when they talk, when the spirits talk, are they talking on the same frequency or is their frequency shifting as they're talking, as they're transmitting the message through? And I really think where we're at in the veil cycle depends on the answer. So if we're at a point where the veil is really thin, the spirits are able to come through all the frequencies. It's going through the frequencies really quickly. So whenever they talk, they're talking over multiple frequencies at once. It doesn't matter where it's at, when it's scanning, they can pick up on it. But when the veil is really long, when the veil is thick, as we call it, the spirits are only able to get through on the frequency that touches us before going back up. So it would be just one frequency, so that's why the responses might be shorter that night. That's why they'll come and go in waves when the veil is really thick. So it depends on the length of the veil. It depends on if the frequency is compressed or decompressed. That will determine what frequencies they're communicating on, in theory. And so that would be my answer. And it's weird because you know when the activity is happening, and you know when it's not. And you know when it's a hot night, and you know when it's not. And it has, I truly believe it has to do with the compression of the veil, the compression of that frequency. So that was a great question. Yes.
So when you have a device that your battery is drained, do you keep your spare batteries like out in your car or something? Or do you risk your spare batteries being drained all the other?
So that's another great question right there. He's saying, when your battery is drained, should you have your batteries on hand in the location or should you have them out in your car to avoid those being drained? Now, in my experience, the spirits will drain the batteries that are actively in use in the area that you're using. So, and they can drain all the batteries and all the devices wherever that spirit's at. Now, I haven't had an instance where I go to get brand new batteries and they're completely drained. So I think it's safe to keep them in there, but you probably wouldn't want to have them like in your pocket or like in the center of the activity unless you're wanting the spirits to use those batteries and use that energy. So I think they're safe in the location, but you might not want to have them you might not want to have the fresh pack of batteries right next to the gateway device unless you're wanting them to use that energy. So that would be my answer there. And then, ma'am, did you have a question? Yeah, that's a great question. So you say, can a spirit speak underneath another noise? Or is that confusing it with the noise? And me and Sean personally have witnessed layered voices where and that happens with the Clover method a lot, where there'll be two voices. There'll be a high frequency voice and a low frequency voice. And it'll also happen when you're recording with the EVP recorder. Let's say someone walks through the room and then through the steps you hear a spirit talk. Now, I believe that voice, a lot of people would call that contamination. I believe that voice to be legit spirit speaking to us. And now you have to weed out what's the steps, what's rustling, and what's a voice. So when something says a word, like if I took 3 steps on this floor, you wouldn't hear it speak. And, but then on the recording, there's a voice there. That voice isn't from the Buddhist. So we just have to use a certain level of discernment to understand what is EVP and what's not. But I'm a firm believer that spirits will use anything to talk to us. And they will use, even if it is boot steps or clothes wrestling, they'll do anything to get their message out. And so if we just have to be moving when they're speaking, we can't blame them for that. You know, that's on us, and so we have to listen for them. Now, if you're trying to prove this scientifically to somebody, you've got to be dead still, dead silent, so that way you don't confuse them. But we're trying, I'm in the mindset that if a spirit wants to speak, that's what we should focus on. And we can prove it to the scientific community later. You know, if there's a spirit trying to get a message out, if there's a spirit stuck or trapped, or they're suffering because of something that happened, and they need to tell somebody, that's more important. Getting their message out and helping that spirit. And then later doing an experiment, later trying to figure out, you know, if we can prove this to somebody or not. But that's my answer for you there. And I am going to do an experiment proving that the SB7 does pick up anomalous communications that are not terrestrial radio stations. And I've got a big plan for it where if we can prove it, I think this would do it too. But I'm hoping to prove it to the scientific community by doing an actual research study on the spirit box, scanning, doing sessions, asking the same questions, repeating that session, doing it over and over again, while monitoring all the terrestrial stations. That way we can prove what's coming through is not terrestrial. It's not from a radio station or anything like that. And I think once we can prove it with a real study like that, I think we'll start getting more and more technically minded people on board. And if we can have a study, at least one study, that proves there's anomalous transmissions, anomalous communications coming through the equipment, then maybe we can get some big funding. Someone who's slightly interested in the paranormal but doesn't want to see like a nut job. And so if they see this study, it's legit, and they want to back it, that would open it up for them. You have to tread lightly with that kind of thing. You have to, especially when you're approaching technically minded people and people who aren't normally involved in the paranormal. So I think the future is pretty bright for communication with spirits. I think there's going to be a time where I've always called it the spirit data transfer line. And it was my original dream, my original goal through doing these investigations. An actual data line that exists between our side and the other side. And I don't know how you verify it. And I was thinking about this. When you're texting someone, when you and someone are texting, you assume that it's the other person on the other side. You're not thinking, oh, that's someone imitating me. That's not that someone imitating my girlfriend texting me. You assume that it's them. You're not asking for proof. You're not asking for 10 studies showing that it's the actual person texting you back. You just assume that it is. But for spirits, they want us to prove that it's that spirit, And so it's making the spirit data transfer line. That's the biggest thing I've run into theoretically. Is how would we verify that it is them? How would we verify that the data that they transmit to us on the other side would be them? Because I imagine it like a computer or like the internet. They'd be able to talk to us like email, like text. Maybe even eventually, if the bandwidth got big enough between their side and our side, maybe they could even send what we would consider video or audio signals. But the verification thing, people would argue all day, is it a demon, is it demonic influence, is it someone mimicking or trying to act like it's spirits? The verification part of the spirit data transfer line is the hardest thing to overcome. And of course, you can go to the point where you find a specific spirit, someone that they can tell something that no one else would know. And then there's the people that say, well, a demon would know that. If a demon was following that person through life, they would know all their secrets, they would know everything. So the verification protocol for the spirit data transfer line is the hardest thing to overcome. And if anyone has any ideas about how we would do that verification process for something like that, my table's over there, right next to Sean, the epic table. If you got any theories on how we can verify it, that'd be great. Because I'd really like to get the spirit data transfer line going. But in the meantime, I've been working on this space-time frequency theory with the gateway devices, with the tuners. But yeah, any other questions? I'll just ramble if no one asks me. Hello. So she's asking, am I sensitive in any way, or is it mainly the technical skills that have brought me into this? Thank you for the question. My whole life, I experienced paranormal phenomena, like seeing things and hearing things. And when I moved into the house I'm in now, it got worse and worse and worse. There was something very nasty. at my house, and I was a musician full time, just dedicated to grinding, trying to be a successful musician. And I thought I was going crazy from stress. I thought the voices that would echo through the house, I thought the banging on the windows and doors, I thought all of that was me losing my mind until I went to record my friend's band. And they're a black metal band, so they like to dabble in the dark stuff. You know, they're black metal band. That's what they're all about. And really good music too. But they set up to record, we had it all ready, and they come up to me, the two guitar players, and they're like, look dude, we can't record here. This is in my basement. They're like, we can't record here. We can't do it. And I was like, what's going on? And they're like, the energy is too nasty to do it. We can't do it. And I was like, what do you mean? You know, they explained to me how to do a cleansing, how to put the salt in the corners of the home, how to do the saging, open the windows. And so I did that every day for a week straight. And after doing that, all of that stopped. The banging on the windows and doors at night. Every night I'd go to sleep, I'd have night terrors. And I'd be seeing things like walk up to me, I'd be feeling things walking on the bed, hearing the voices being like, yeah. And I would leave. I'd be like, all right, I'm out of here. I thought I was just losing my mind. But after doing that cleansing, all of that stuff stopped. Every single bit of it. And they came back the next week, they recorded no problem, got the demo out. But that opened my eyes that it is real. And I started realizing everything that had happened to me in the past. I was like, wait a minute. You know, there's something to this. There's something actually going on. And then I started going out in the field, and I started picking up on things. And occasionally, very occasionally, a spirit will come through super clear. A spirit will come to me, and I'll be able to either see them, or hear them, or feel them. It's extremely rare. I'm not a full medium like Sean. I don't know where he went, but Sean is like full-blown medium, psychic abilities. I would say I'm sensitive, but not to that extent. But occasionally, for instance, with the Jennifer Doolittle case, I took a nap before a live stream one day, and I woke up, I was a little late to the stream, I turned it on, and we were supposed to talk about upcoming events and stuff. But all of a sudden, I'm sitting in a chair, away from the camera, kind of like this, and all of a sudden, this woman just starts talking to me. And I could hear her, I could feel her, I could everything but see her. I knew she was there, and she was yelling at me, she was screaming at me, and I was like, what is this? What is it? Eventually, I was getting her name was Jennifer. And I had no idea about Sean was working on the Jennifer Doolittle's case. I had no idea he was doing that. And she started talking to me about the water. And that's something that's come up in Sean's investigation, is the water over and over again. And I asked her, is her name Jennifer? And clear as day, the gateway goes, yes. And then in the chat, everyone in the chat was like, maybe it's Jennifer Doolittle. And I was like, who is that? And they were like, ask her if her last name's Doolittle. And I was like, all right, what's your last name? And we were doing the Clover method for the last name portion. I was like, all right, Jennifer, what's your last name? We play back the recorder, and clear as day, she goes, Doolittle. It was crisp. I was like, oh my goodness. So sometimes, there was another instance like that at Post Town. I investigated Revenant Acres the night before, and that's where the demonic entity that calls itself Seven would reside. And I went to Post Town, and that night, I swear, it seemed like the demon turned on full-blown psychic ability. I saw four adult spirits at the end of the hallway. I could actually see them there. And then there was a little boy spirit next to us. And the whole time, the gateway was just firing off everything I was talking about. And it hadn't happened since then in a long time. It was years between that experience at Post Town where I could see the spirits all night, I could hear them talk to me, and then the Jennifer Doolittle thing. So and when we go to locations when Sean and me investigate, I'll feel something, and I'll be like, Sean, check this out, and then boom, he gets like the download, you know? And then in Hillview Manor, we did an investigation where I walked in a room, and I was like, Sean, something's weird about this room. He came in, and he was like, oh yeah, and then he started, whenever he's into the places that used to be mental asylums, they start like channeling through him. He starts doing this weird shit, like he starts like tapping on the windows and just being weird. And I started asking, he was like, man, are you in a wheelchair? And on the Clover method, it was like, wheelchair, clear as day. Everything he did, everything he said came through the equipment. That Hillview Manor investigation was nuts. But all these investigations I'm talking about are live on our channel, on Epic Paranormal TV and on Sean Austin Paranormal. So all those that have been done there. But I've got some, and it comes through strong sometimes, but it's I'm not sure what causes it either. And it could be the space-time frequency theory. It could be the nights that they came through to me, the veil was compressed all the way. all those frequencies were getting through. Anytime the Spirit talked, it was blanketing a lot of frequencies that we were hearing, and maybe they wouldn't be able to show up, but the thing at Post Town, I swear, it was a demonic force, and it was just like, watch this button, and it just turned it on. Because think of it this way, if a demonic force is made up of electromagnetic energy, which in order to exist in the world, we have to accept that there's electromagnetic energy present in the demonic forces or the spirit forces. They can put that electromagnetic energy into your head. They can activate a part of your brain and make you feel a certain way, make you see or hear something. And I really believe that's what happened at the post-town investigation. But, all right, any other questions? I thought he was making his hand over. What's good? That's Alfred G, by the way, epic fan member. Let's go. Let's get yellow on the camera. Let's get it.
Have you found being like a little sex worker? Have you found a correlation between how you feel about the way that kind of live getting it
Between the sensitivity and the equipment? Is that what you're asking? Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. So whenever there's a spirit coming through strong and you're feeling it, it seems like the replies just follow in suit. And especially like on this, on the Malvos one, and the Lair House the week before, oh my God, and the Lair House is insane, both of the investigations, but we'd be feeling something crazy and we'd hear it through the box right away. And especially with Sean's, like every time Sean feels something, it gets validated almost immediately through the gateways or through the Clover method. It's really awesome. It's really cool. And so that's one of the things that Sean says is a psychic medium, but instead of using only that ability, he uses these devices. And it makes it where the evidence is so much more impressive because you can hear it for yourself. You can hear the spirit talk with your own ear. You don't have to have it relayed to you. And so I think that's going to be a big step. Imagine this. Imagine a day where a psychic medium could actually put what they're feeling, seeing and hearing through a device. Imagine if we get to the point where the antenna can be connected to them and they can get the spirit to come through that way. And I think that's a lot of what happens when you're holding a device or when you're holding a scanning radio, an EVP recorder. A lot of it is channeled through us unintentionally. Because when you ask the spirit to talk to you, that is an invitation. As scary as it sounds, it is an invitation. And you open yourself up. So, yeah, great question. All right, I think, what do we got on time here? All right, we're running out of time, so y'all want to do a gateway session? Yeah. All right, let's get it. If anyone has any other questions or any ideas on the verification process and the spirit data transfer line, I'll be over there, the table, or we can do a session over there too. But here, let's start off with this little gateway, because we heard this one yesterday. Let's start off with the little one right here. And also, let me get the fan involved here. Over there, part. There we go. Looking down a little bit. All right, maybe not. All right, there we go. Now, this one is actually for one of the fan members named Aaron Bates, and I had to rebuild this one because it didn't pass the testing phase of the gateway building process. There's a very rigorous testing phase where each one of these I build, I take to numerous locations to make sure that they don't, mess up in any way. And this one, on the very last location I was using it to test, the original speaker in here stopped working. The input jack stopped working. And so I had to go back, and these clear amps are hard to find, and that's the specific one that she wanted for her device. And so I had to wait for one to become available, I had to bid on it, win it at an auction, and then, here we go. And then, this is the device we have now. Fresh speaker, fresh brain. Anyways, let's get it on here. Let's get it going. All right. We might have to adjust the EQ on this based on how it's going to sound to the, but we'll make it work. We'll make it work. All right, here we go. So earlier, I was doing a session over there with a woman named Danielle, and we actually got some stuff coming through. It was pretty cool. And then yesterday, of course, we did a session here on the Mountains panel, and that was nuts. That was so cool. All right, let's see what it sounds like through the microphone here. Oh, we got it right. Are there any spirits standing up on stage with me right now? Yes or no? Okay, hold on. Whoa. Excuse me? Look, is there someone up here with me? Is there someone that wants to talk? Do you hear the replay? Do you hear the replay on that? You get hooked on that. Do you like all the attention that you get at stuff like this? Does it help? Does it help you come through? Also, if y'all hear something out there, just yell it out loud. Do you like these people being here? Here, I'm going to cut some of the low frequency from this, see if we can hear it a little better. Is it no? Oh no. Do you live in the armory? Is this your home? Do you live here, or are you stuck here for some reason? Are you trapped? Or do you just like to hang out? Is this like your chill spot? 1 second. Is there anyone here that you would like to reach? If so, can you say their name? Goodbye. Let's say Frank is here, but it sounds like I'm here. I don't know. Is your name Frank? Irritate you? Oh my goodness. Someone's being not nice. Is this the Mason entity coming through right now and saying all this? Something Austin? You want to tell Sean something? It sounds like it's in Austin right there. What do you want to tell him? Do you not like that we're showing your true nature on that film? Is that why you're trying to come through right now? Is there something you want to warn us about? Or something you want to leave us with? I don't know if y'all heard it. Real faint, there's a super faint note right there. Whoa. That was in the non-broadcast frequencies too, that was weird. Because this thing scans way below broadcast frequency. I'm gonna let you talk for a minute, okay? That almost sounded like let us out. Something like that. Alright, I wanna show Sean's gateway too. I tweaked it the other night, replaced the pedal on it, got it up and running. Here, let's try that one real quick. Here we go. And if you all can think of any questions to ask the spirits that might be here at the armory, then let me know. I know him? Who do you know? It sounded like it said, I know him right there. Who is it that you know? Tell us through the gateway device, spirits, please. Are you enjoying the convention? To the spirits that are here with us, I talked tonight about 2 different theories on how we can reason better and how we can connect better. Do you have any idea about those theories, the space-time frequency theory or the spirit data transfer line? Do you know who I am? Well, here, before we close it out, we got 5 minutes left. Spirits, I want you to come up to the stage and talk to us about anything you want to talk about. Your family, your friends, anything. Let us know.
Ashley.
Ashley? Who is Ashley? Did it sound like Ashley? It sounded up here, did it? Who is Ashley? That was weird. I asked them to talk about whatever they want, friends, family, and they say Ashley. That's pretty wild. Who is Ashley? Tell us more about Ashley, okay? So guys, on playback, if anyone's recording this, you'll hear the responses a lot more clearly. I'm sure there's someone listening in real time, just because of the echo of the room and the microphone up to this. But up here, I heard Ashley for sure. On playback, watch, I'll listen to it on playback, and it won't be Ashley at all. Anything else you want to tell us?
It sounded like it faintly said Ashley again. Also, something you'll notice is randomly,
The frequencies will stop picking up anything. It's really weird. Also, if you're wondering why I'm doing that right there, on these tuners, the cable is the antenna. So if you've got like a haunted object that you want to communicate with, you can wrap the cable around that object because this is the antenna. Or if you want to get more potential signal, hold it up straight like that. Anything else you want to tell us before we go?
yeah?
All right, this will be the last sweep right here. If there's any spirits of the armory or any attachments with anyone, come through now and let us know what you want to say. Thank you, spirits, for coming through. And again, if anyone recorded that on playback, you'll hear a lot more. I should have brought up the Clover recorder. We could have done like a Clover method that could have been sent. But guys, that's it for me. I'm Eric from Epic Paranormal TV. I'll be over there. Come see us. Mal, you got me there now. Come over and stack. Thank you all so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, fam, too. Live streaming fam. Let's go. Let's go. Thank you so much.
That's great. Ladies and gentlemen, Eric Connor. This is good.
Thank you so much.
I need you to sign. I bought the DVD.
Oh, nice. Awesome.
I need you to sign it too.
Is it over there?
Yeah. Rob, I want him to sign my DVD.
So when you get your signatures, still here, all our authors. Tim only has a few books left. And if you haven't
Hell yeah.
got the DVD yet, you get Sean's music coming up. I'll tell you that. Also, official PARANORMAL shirts, historic for the first ever event, only available from Weirdo Wonderland, our friends in Milford. Eric, you there somewhere? Alright, just making sure you heard Weirdo Wonderland. He's only got a few smalls. You got one of these. And mediums left. They sold out otherwise, as did most of this stuff. So anyway, still coming up, Bill Hall, for a great talk on the world's most important house. And that's in about 15 minutes. And also your opportunity to take a little break now and visit our vendors and visit our food trucks and just come over and say hello. You guys see anything at all? Usually give our friends in purple shirts. My name is Charles. This is my partner. He'll be up here on stage in a few minutes. Take a break. Go to the landfill, buy some stuff, visit somebody, come back in a little while.
I'll come back up for the pictures. I got it. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right, fam. There it was.
So your Ashley is right here, by the way.
Are you Ashley?
She is.
Do you mind if I put you on the camera? Is that okay?
Of course, yeah.
This is Ashley.
Hi.
So do you think someone was reaching out to you?
Most certainly. I would
Really?
say my brother.
Your brother?
Yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah.
Would you like me to turn this back on?
Could you?
Yeah, absolutely.
I really want to get a photo. Yeah, that's amazing.
Here, give me 1 second here.
Absolutely.
Oh no, there's music. Oh, so do you think I'll get copyrighted? Do you have it copyrighted through an agency? Like use like TuneCore or something?
I took it off actually.
You did?
Song
Okay.
specifically.
So I should be good. It should be good.
Should be good. I
All right.
don't want your stream to get taken down because of
Well,
my music.
if you're the holder, you could remove it, but I don't know if it would send it to you or the publishing agency. All right, anyways. So it might be kind of hard to hear. Is it scanning? All right, it's scanning.
Do you have a recorder on you? I do in my bag.
Is there someone here wanting to talk to Ashley? All right, so this thing, it stopped. Oh, it's not all the way plugged in. There we go. There we go. Did you say yeah? Come through, talk to us. What do you want to tell Ashley? She's right here. Are you here with us? There we go. Don't do this. Same voice twice in a row. Whoa. That's Alfred G. So I definitely think he had a message there, 100%.
I agree. Hello, is there somebody here trying to communicate with me? Let me see if I can get more volume over here. Whoa. Whoa. Why couldn't it be like this when I was up there? Listening. Is this your sister, Ashley? Here, I can put this closer to the speaker too.
Thank you, thank you.
She's right here. This is Ashley. Is there anything else you want to say to her? I swear he had something at the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whoa. He's gone quiet. So do you have like a big decision coming up?
I have a lot going on right now. Decisions, all types of stuff. I mean, I'm gonna have to go back and listen to this audio to really dissect it
Yeah.
and see. But for
Well,
a
here, let me
moment,
give you-
when I
let
heard
me
my
give you my
name,
card.
it very much sounded like afterward it said, "I'm her brother," or "It's her brother." Or
Really?
something along those lines. When you're up on stage doing that, she pointed out first, and I heard it again. I'm gonna have to go back and listen. That was intense. It was very intense.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well,
But I definitely heard my name, so it kind of got me. We just got here too, give or take 15 minutes
Oh,
ago.
wow.
So we walk in and then boom, my name comes up on the speaker. She's like, "They said your name." I was like, "Yeah, they did." And no one, we looked around, nobody else acknowledged it. I'm like, am I the only Ashley in here? Like, so I
might be.
tuned in very much so, hearing all that. It just like,
Well, here, I do call out sessions a lot
Yeah.
for like loved ones and things that have passed on. Like, 'cause a lot of times, like if they pass suddenly, there's something that they're trying to say.
yeah.
You know, and so they will generally come through if they have a message. He might have said it there because it was so clear right then.
Absolutely.
And then it died down just like it was up there. So,
Right.
but here,
Yep.
this is my card.
Excellent.
And then
Thank you.
we do have all this stuff for sale too, if you're interested.
Awesome. And we have all this stuff. I love
We're
it.
actually take one of this too, since you're on the stream right now.
Thank you.
It's a-
Thank you. We really
Think about
appreciate
it.
this. Is awesome. Yeah, this is fantastic. I love this. This is amazing.
Yeah, and so when you listen back to that, if you hear something, like message me,
Yep.
let me know. And if you feel like there's something more, we could do a call out session. We can do it remotely.
I would love that.
So,
That's
yeah.
wonderful. Fantastic. This is
Yeah.
really fantastic.
Absolutely.
We'll reach out after we go over the audio. We're far and near paranormal,
Yep.
so we do this as well, but
Nice.
you'll get it from that.
Yep.
Right.
And we'll have her listen.
Absolutely.
Thank you for doing
Thank you.
that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Pleasure to meet you.
Take it easy.
Later, y'all. We'll be here all day.
Thank you.
What's up? Hi. I'm gonna close this out real quick. I'm gonna talk to them, and then we'll talk. All right?
Okay.
All right, guys. Lady Pamela, RJ Litness, Jackie. What's good, Jackie? Miss Pac-Man. Let's go. Tony Unplugged. What's up, Tony? I've been seeing you in the comments on the video. Tony, thank you for leaving those comments. I really appreciate it. Mama Epic, Trixie Cat, what's good? I see you. Anna Bolin, Wisconsin Investigators of the Supernatural. I see you, Wisconsin. Let's go. Lou Rock, what's up, Lou? Thank you for being here with your boy. Allie Bagel, what's up, Allie? Yeah, with the whole Ashley thing, that's right. That was amazing. Lady Pamela, how do you know I haven't eaten yet? Is it that obvious? Dory, it was so good to meet you. Oh my goodness. Misty G, what's up, Misty? Joey Vitality, what's good? We got Entity 7 Paranormal, Joey Vitality. Rebecca Cole, what's up, Rebecca? I'm almost done. I'm sorry, sir. I'm almost done. Here we go. All right, I love you guys. So thank you all for being here. This is the Divine Diamond, what's good? Christine, hey, Christine. So yeah, guys, we are here till 6 today. And Devil's Hour Productions, what's up, Matt? Matt Benton, let's get it. Rebecca Cole, I see you, Rebecca. Yeah, guys, so thank you all so much. Dazzler 25. I will be here till 6. We got the DVDs, signed DVDs, posters, all that stuff. Got the gateways. Got that guy right there. One over. Whoa, alien binder. Taking a dive. Oh my goodness. These have been a big hit.
They have.
I've sold almost all of them. They're literally, there he goes. That's awesome. And then the pins, I've sold over half the pins. It's been awesome. It's been really good. But yeah, I love you guys. Stay tuned. Stay epic. And guys, I will see you all. I'll see you all at the next one. Peace, fam. I don't know when I'm going to be live again. Hopefully soon. So I'll be on the road. I'll live stream Monday when I'm driving home. I love you guys. Stay tuned. Stay epic. Peace, fam. Chris Mix World. Hey, Chris Mix World. This would be a good one to rewatch. How was the audio? I don't know if the audio was good during the presentation or anything. I hope it was good. Misty G, thank you for the super chat. Let's go. Thank you, Misty. And then I saw another super chat at some point. Oh, it doesn't show, guys. It used to show the super chats. Now it doesn't. The past ones. Thank you to everyone who threw down and donated. I really appreciate it. Zapper was good. All right. Matt, sending the film in 480. I appreciate that, dude. I appreciate that. All right, love y'all. Stay tuned. Stay epic. See you at the next one. Peace, fam.